What is going on, guys? It is your boy Chili, and today I'm going to be doing a video breaking down the top 5 things that I want to see moving forward with the Rise of Iron. I know that I've talked to a few people, and overall this is a general consensus list for those people. Obviously you could do a top 10 list, a top 20 list, so these top 5 things will be very, broad, and they each could require their own video that you could go further into detail, but they're also very big things that need to be covered. So without further ado, let's get right into it. At number 5, I would like to say more vault space / a more organized vault. And obviously moving forward with the Rise of Iron, it's a very different situation because legacy consoles or PS3s or 360s are no longer going to be getting the newest content, which is huge because from a gaming standpoint, one of the biggest things that's always been negative about Destiny is the fact that we've been hindered in terms of things like vault space because of the 360 and 360 or Xbox 360, PS3. But anyways, that was something that they had mentioned going forward. You know, obviously legacy consoles will no longer receive things like Iron Banner or Trials of Osiris, and that is a very big step. So obviously we can expect things like vault space to not be a problem in the future. So I do expect some sort of increase in terms of total vault space. What I would actually like to see, though, is something that's broken down a little bit differently. Maybe something that's a little bit more organized in terms of what's implemented. So maybe instead of just weapons, armor, and then inventory, we could have something like consumables or materials or whatever. Break it down. Also utilizing the kiosk, which is something that we haven't really seen too much of. I mean, obviously the kiosks were a huge thing coming into the Taken King. It was a great way to itemize things, exotic weapons, armor, ships, sparrows, etc. It was just a really great idea, and I think they should expand on that. Maybe going as far as to do stuff like the Festival of the Lost or SRL, which I do believe they will bring back over the next year before Destiny 2. Bring back a kiosk for those things, because I, like many people, have a few of those legendary Festival of the Lost masks. I don't really want to get rid of them. Or obviously, making the Sparrow Horn something that you can store in the kiosk, because you still can't from SRL. So Bungie, get on that, because it's kind of annoying. But anyways, seeing something like that, I think that's going to be the most likely thing that we're going to see affected moving forward with Rise of Iron. At number 4, I'm going to go with custom shaders or expanding on customizable options for your Guardian. Now, obviously, the first thing that comes to people's minds when you mention custom shaders is there's just too many moving mechanics behind that. It seems like it would be very difficult, and how do you really tie that into the story? And obviously, with the Rise of Iron coming, Bungie has said many times before that they're not going to do something unless it has a cohesive way to merge with the story. So one of the things that I had thought of in terms of custom shaders, and a great way to launch that would be doing that specifically with the factions, or Iron Banner or Trials of Osiris. And let me give you an example. Once you get the exotic class item for whatever character, you unlock the ability to then customize the ultimate shader for that faction. So if it was Dead Orbit, hypothetically I would be able to choose from all the color schemes set aside for Dead Orbit. So take all the colors available from Bittersteel, the Revenant, Nowhere, and the Hanged Man, and put those all at my disposal and let me create the ultimate custom shader. I think that would be a really good idea, a really good way to introduce that concept, especially with Iron Banner. We only have 2 shaders, so imagine being able to take all the colors from those and expand on those. I would really like that at least to be something that's discussed, and it's a great way to kind of start it off. If not, bring forward a few more chromas. Chromas were a big hit with the April update, so expand on that. Maybe add like a black chroma or a pink chroma, something that would be very, very interesting to do. At number 3, I would like to say making Year 1 raid gear infusible with the max light level that's going to be with Rise of Iron. So obviously Bungie has spoken on many times that they're not going to bring forward Year 1 raids unless it makes sense story-wise. Well, to my knowledge, it'd be very hard to rerun the Vault of Glass. We already kind of did that with the Paradox missions and helping Praedyth. So that'd be kind of difficult, and obviously if we've destroyed pretty much a majority of the Hive Pantheon in terms of Oryx and Crota, it's going to be hard to go back and redo those. So a great thing to do would be find out whatever the new max light level is and actually be able to go in and infuse that raid gear up to the max light level. This would allow Guardians the ultimate ability to have gear that is the max light level and still be custom. You know, some people would go back and really want year 1 raid gear. Other people would like to move forward. Whatever. The Kings, I can't even talk right now. Oryx's raid gear, you know. So being able to do that would be huge. And I think this is something that they should definitely look into. If they're not going to bring them back, because I really do think at 4 raids, that would be a lot of stuff that you'd have to go through on a weekly basis. Bring them to the point where they can be infused to, you know, Rise of Iron standards, I guess year 3. Yeah, I guess it would be year 3. That would be something that would be a very big subject. And then going into number 2, this is something that I've discussed in a video further, and I'm constantly looking at ways to implement this where it transitions smoothly, but that is the ability to make your custom weapons and armor in the game. And I don't mean actually like forge them, like choose the design. Obviously we know that would be way too difficult to do. What I actually mean is being able to choose everything from the ground up. Your intellect, discipline, strength split. For armor, you know, choosing what armor gives you more armor based on what subclass you're running, or what gauntlets reload what fast or store what ammo more. And I had previously discussed this because one of the biggest things that is a huge issue currently in Destiny is the fact that if you want to be a tier 12 Guardian, meaning out of those 3, intellect, discipline, strength, you have 12 of those tiers filled out. You can do it a bunch of different ways, but it's very difficult to do, and you have to have a very specific set of armor. You actually have to go on Reddit and look at the different armors that you can do that with. This idea would allow people to go in and, you know, if their RNG is really bad, meaning a perfect example, say you're farming for a weapon or armor after Rise of Iron comes out, and, you know, somebody in your fire team gets the god roll on something like the Grasp of Malik, you know, whatever. They don't have to really do much after that. But for someone who gets a really terrible roll, well, instead of saying, alright, I got a terrible roll, it's just not my, it's, you know, RNG sucks, whatever, make it so that they have an economy at their disposal, some sort of material used in weapons and armor that can change everything from the red dot sight to the perks, the perk 1 and perk 2 on the weapon. And obviously the more they want to customize it, the more they have to pay, the more they have to grind the game. This would make it so that people who play the game a lot and want the perfect set of armor or want to mix things up, so, you know, I know a lot of people will run typically Iron Banner gear for PvP because that's PvP based. Well, someone can also change around the raid gear, and obviously for the raid gear you have to leave whatever's exclusive to that raid, whatever perk. So with the King's Fall raid, it was you're faster while taken in the next dimension. Like, keep that the same, but instead create something where it's like, okay, well, I can actually turn my raid gear into my PvP armor gear. I can turn that into what I run on trials and then change my trials into my raid gear. I mean, whatever. The fact of the matter is by doing that, it allows you to go through and make sure that every piece of armor you have is tailored to what you need to do. This is particularly useful in terms of doing the weekly Crucible bounties, you know, having gauntlets that reload scout rifles, pulse rifles, auto rifles, and hand cannons. All of that's pretty important, and allowing you to play the game more. It would just make it so that people who play the game a lot can actually get the armor that they want through really grinding. And if RNG strikes and you get a really good roll, think good, you don't have to work on that weapon. But still, it's just an idea that can certainly be tampered with, but should certainly be explored and discussed in further detail, and that's probably for a separate video. And number 1, lastly, I need to wrap this up because the video's about to come to an end. This would be private matchmaking for PvP. And the biggest thing I've noticed is, you know, you look at the competitive community on Destiny that is growing at a pretty good rate, and the people who want to run sweats and practice for tournaments. The fact that they have to try to queue up in the classic 3v3 or salvage or scrimmage playlist is atrocious. It just is. Bungie had a phenomenal experience with the competitive community in Halo, and they should realize firsthand that being able to go in and tailor to those players would be a huge thing. This would also indirectly help with skill-based matchmaking. People wouldn't have to worry about running into some pure savages in salvage when they're just trying to do it for the daily mission. So I really do think all of these things combined could lead to some very helpful situations. I mean, obviously Destiny is always going to be a work in progress. The greatest thing about this community is the fact that we're constantly looking for ways to improve the game, and certainly with, you know, private matchmaking for that base of players would be huge. It would allow them to go off and do their tournaments without having the inconvenience of having to solo queue with people. So anyways, guys, that's my top 5 things I'm looking forward to with Rise of Iron. Let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up if you guys enjoyed the video. Comment if you guys would like to see something, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I want to get as healthy of a discussion as possible going with this, so I'm going to wrap this up. Sorry, the video is coming to an end. But anyways, this has been your boy Chili. Stay focused, stay humble, stay driven. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.